Okay, hi everybody. We're calling to order the meeting of the Ad Hoc Cost Efficiencies Committee for January 27th at around 3:34 p.m. We have several of our members here. I know Bob Riggs has said that he couldn't make it today, and Aliza said she would be late. So I'm expecting her to join. I haven't heard from anybody else, but I think we will try to get moving so that we can at least get something accomplished today, hopefully. So I don't see anybody for open time for the public. We'll go ahead and take a look. I just got some minutes done. As we noted, we had assigned Judy Zadonis, Ed's assistant, to work on doing minutes from the video recording. And so I got those this afternoon and went through them. I just wanted to show you that they do exist. We don't necessarily have to approve them today, but we can take a minute and read through them if you would like. So why don't we, is that okay? We should probably approve them. So why don't, or look at them. Let's kind of just browse through it. I sent you all a copy of the recording. So most of this should sound pretty familiar, I believe. And of course, my cursor, there we go. So basically, this was just our last meeting on the 13th, where everybody kind of introduced themselves first around, because we felt that people probably didn't all know each other. And then we spent time looking at the charge, what we were trying to do with this committee, and how the cluster people had come about in terms of being nominated by the rest of their subgroup. Okay. We then talked about what we came up with for ideas that we would try to pass through these 5 criteria. That would be kind of across the board to see if whatever idea it was that, to what extent did any of them, meet these levels of standard, I guess I would say, standards. I'm going to be heading up the committee, but Judy Zadonis will transcribe the video recording and have our minutes here. We then went into the goal of the committee and expectations, which I'll share another document on that, because if you remember, I was writing on the document as we went through. So I'll just bring up the goal in just a second here. We started a little bit too with expectations about how the committee would function, what it would do, what we hope to have it do. And we talked about inventorying town services and trying to look at commonalities, figuring out the power of bulk buying. Bradley mentioned that we should have focused topics to keep us organized, and Ian too wanted to look at leasing rather than buying. One of the ideas had come up about Randall and converting the streetlights to LED, and Ed mentioned how expensive that would be from Eversource point of view. In terms of leasing any vehicles, Bob Riggs volunteered to help out with that, because that's really a large part of his normal work that he would be able to help with in terms of some ideas on that, how to do that. We then went into a set of 3 questions revolving around the inventory of the types of services we now provide, services we'd like to provide but can't afford, and then services that might be done more efficiently. And I'm going to pull up those separate lists in just a minute. It was too long to put it all in these minutes. I think it'll just be an attachment to the minutes. And then we were going to meet monthly, as had been stated, but there was some discussion about having a meeting now, because if we are trying to accomplish anything to be effective with the current budget cycle, we would like to at least try to find out what might be some low-hanging fruit to try and tackle, and see if we could make any headway there to have some actual recommendations for the time of the budget. So that's essentially the meeting minutes. I'm going to stop sharing that and pull up the other one document here just briefly, and then we'll kind of look at all things here, if I can find it, of course. Geez. Okay, this one. All right, so the goal of the committee that we agreed upon: to conduct a review of town services and processes with productive critique and analysis, resulting in improved efficiency internally, revenue generation, and cost savings to the town budget. John, you were the only one I think here today that wasn't here the other day. So if you see some things that you would like to chip in on in terms of the goal or the expectations, you're welcome to do that, and I will note those on a separate piece of paper. The basic expectations that the cluster groups were going to be spokespersons for their group. We did talk about them it was not expected for the cluster people to go back and have meetings with their subgroups, but rather at least share information by email and try to get input from their subgroup for the next meetings. Taking a look at the services that we do provide, the support needed for those services, figuring out some commonalities, how we could consolidate suppliers and vendors, the advantage of bulk buying. We wanted to have constructive critique, focus topics and themes, take kind of a big picture view, have good participation, and prevent, I think this is important, prevent department competition in the process of review and analysis. I think we wanted to look at it from a broad perspective in that regard and be as objective as we can, and then try to phase this process to identify the low-hanging fruit first and foremost. And then one last one, if I can find it right here. My sharing is work. Oh, no, that didn't work. Hold on. Stop sharing that one. Got the wrong one. Oh, gosh. Expectations. Here we go. Okay. So I'm not going to read through all of these, but just to note that this was a long, long list of services that we do provide. And we felt that there might be some that we were missing. And so we'll take that up next in terms of our new agenda of what you might have gathered from your subgroups, if anything. We thought we might have missed a few. What services would we like to provide, but we normally cannot afford? That was a shorter list, but nonetheless, a lot of that was around personnel related kinds of issues. And then lastly, what are services that we might do more efficiently? And so again, some of this was the leasing versus purchase, centralized purchasing, a variety of things here. So this is what we have. So these would be attachments to the actual minutes, if that makes sense, because this just feels like it's too much to put in the body of the minutes. So if everybody's kind of okay with that, that is what we went through last time. If anybody has any comments, I'll stop sharing that, and then we can see whether we're ready to approve the minutes or you'd rather have more time to read through everything. Open to suggestions.
I'm comfortable making a motion to approve the minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'd second it.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Good. Thank you very much. We'll consider that approved. So I think what we wanted to do today, we had talked about at least the folks that have got your subgroups, and we do have our 3 cluster representatives here today, which is great. I guess my first question is, did you have a chance to get back to your subgroups and share this information at least, and or get any other information? So whoever would like to go first, maybe Ian.
Chris, I did not have that document. I didn't know if you had sent it. So I did not share the actual document of what we had listed.
Okay, I thought I shared it. Didn't I not? I thought I did.
If you did, I didn't find it then.
Okay,
then it's on me. Then it's on me.
That's fine. It might have been hidden somewhere. I didn't have the actual minutes document, but that list that has draft on it, yes, I did send that around.
Okay,
but
then that's on me.
I'll make sure you have it again. No problem. Yep. How about you, Bradley?
I was able to email my groups, and the library said that there could be a little bit more detail in what they do, but generally I think it's all right. For the assessors, they got back to me with some suggestions of what they would want for their department.
Okay.
Should I share them now?
No, I'm gonna bring up a page on that. So hang on to that for a minute, but that's good. Okay. And Janet?
Yeah, I sent your list. I forwarded the list that you had provided to us, to the group. I sent it again yesterday with a reminder that any responses would be good by noon today. So I only heard back from Ron Lauren. So he had a couple of thoughts that he sent to me, but I didn't hear back from the the town clerk's office or the water department.
Okay, all right. Well, with that in mind, let us see if I can bring up the paper for today, and we'll just try to start this. Okay. So with this, I think I'll go back to, if I can write in here, hopefully, yeah, okay. So anybody that has additional services from your subgroups, or Ed, if you've thought of any others as well, just from your own point of view. And John, I don't know if you'd had a chance to see that draft list before, and if you have any thoughts of services. So this is kind of just for having a separate page of other things that we might have forgotten when we did this last time, just to quickly run through this based on any feedback you would have gotten from anybody in your cohort. Okay, so whatever, Janet, why don't you go ahead with whatever you got back? Anything?
Yeah, I got more from Ron, not so much additional service, but maybe an opportunity to find ways to integrate the software permitting process into other departments so that could be forwarded. So it's more of a process improvement. So I can read basically.
Okay.
And let me just not try to, so the permit application received could also, it goes to the, the building department electronically, could also trigger a review from the treasurer's office that taxes and other municipal bills are up to date before the permit is issued. And then it could also be utilized by the Board of Health to sign off for their inspection. So it's just making a recommendation to find a software program that would improve efficiencies within town, who would also touch it instead of touching it manually.
Right. Okay. So this would require a different software. Is that what I'm understanding?
And that's what I'm gathering.
Because I thought they had, I thought their software was relatively new, but it may not be. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, it may be new. It's, he has the ability to online permit communications in a way, let me see, be more specific, a way in which my online permitting communicates with other departments. So I guess that's what he's looking to do. So his permitting process right now does not touch the other departments.
Gotcha. Okay.
Online.
All right. To, what's the word? Communicate? I'll just say communicate.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, hon? That was it? That was the main thing?
Yep, that was his main thing. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, Bradley. In any of these categories?
Yeah, so the assessors have two wants that could lead to efficiencies. So the first one is paying for an annual subscription service that's $10,000 a year that would provide an aerial view of the land, and so we can research. And along with the assessors, the planning board, conservation commission, and the building department would be able to use it and all benefit from it. The other ask,
hang on just a sec. For aerial service of the town, right?
Aerial view of to research land, yes.
To research land.
Yeah, it's and where I have been that's used it, they haven't done the aerial flyovers every year. They might do them every 3 years.
Okay.
But you'll be surprised what might pop up in those aerial photos of sheds and outbuildings and other things, or decks that show up that weren't there a couple years before and don't have any permits, and you're missing tax dollars on them.
Okay. So just finish that thought, Bradley, if I've got this wrong. Is this right so far?
Yeah, planning board, conservation commission, and building department may also use it.
Perfect. Okay, great one. Okay, anything else?
They would request a new experienced assessor to join the team.
A new what? Sorry.
An experienced assessor to join the assessor department.
Yeah, well, hopefully that will happen. Yep. Yeah. That's a request. I'm not sure that's an opportunity, but maybe it is. I don't know, but go ahead. Yeah. Anything else?
No,
You said that was it, just the assessors that made comments? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Ian, can you think of anything else that might have escaped us from last time, or is this, we could look, we can always keep on looking at this. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Sure. No, I can't. And I just did find your email, so I just.
That's okay. That's okay.
I will, I'll submit it to the group though. And
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no, we're all juggling lots of things, so emails get buried very easily. It's not a problem. All right. So anything else, Ed or John, any thoughts that you might have in any of these three categories, first of all?
I don't from last time. I know there's been a couple of things that have popped into my head, so I'll remember to write them down this time and send them out to everybody.
Okay. Yeah, I know how that goes. Yeah. All right. John, anything?
No, I think that we should just, I mean, from my point of view, I just want to focus on areas where we can maybe
Yep.
invest a few dollars, but reap the benefits. So
Right.
like
Mhm.
the online permitting, for example,
Right.
I'm not familiar with Southampton's and how that is, but I am familiar with the one that Chester Blanford rolled out. That's
Okay.
all electronic and
Mhm.
goes through and automatically updates the assessor's records anytime a permit's pulled. So,
Wow.
to Bradley's point about the manual process, that's all gone. And then,
Mhm.
Again, flyovers, because there's a lot on this list to enhance services in town, but I think we need to focus on what's going to enhance revenue first so that we can add these other things.
Okay.
And maybe that's a way to prioritize the list.
Okay.
Good thought, John.
Okay. So what will enhance revenue? Let's make this big enough so we can see it here. All right. So probably this notion of the online permitting. You think that would be one? Oh gosh, no.
Well, yeah, it's possible. Now, again, I'm making an assumption that the existing permit link that we're currently using is not automatically automated with the assessor's records.
Correct.
If it
yeah.
is, then it's already happening.
And he mentioned the treasurer's office for tax bills, and he also mentioned the Board of Health. So, I mean, he didn't even mention the assessor's office because that's after the fact, right? That
Yeah,
they get a copy of the permit. The other one is kind of prior, so that they make sure they don't, if there's taxes owned on property, that they don't get a building permit if there's something that they're not paying their taxes currently, things like that, which could generate revenue if the loop is closed.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Then some of these others that we talked about last time, does anybody have that list handy? I can only share one document at a time. When we looked at the what could be done better, so that consolidated or leasing versus purchasing, was that one? And that was.
yeah, that was one. Replacing streetlights, shared maintenance.
Right, so leasing versus purchasing vehicles, I think in particular, was it not? For one.
Yes.
Gosh. All right, somebody stop me, come on now. Hang on here. We're replacing streetlights. I think central, purchasing of supplies like paper, for example. What else was there on that list? Anything?
There was a shared maintenance plan for the school and other town departments.
So I think one thing to add to the list, Chris.
Yeah.
That I know it's a touchy subject in town, but regionalization of the entire school system. For example, if we were to, right now we're only regionalized for what, 7 through 12. If we were to do the whole system, then that would make us 100% reimbursable for transportation. And currently the town pays 100% of it for our own school. The high school gets reimbursed, and there's more, Chapter 70 monies would still be the same, but Bobby Jones gave me a whole list of things that they get reimbursed at the regional level that wouldn't impact the town.
It would
So-
also make it possible for us to share employees between schools, because they would all have one CBA agreement.
All right, so including, so is this, tell me if I'm getting this right, including K through 6?
Correct.
Which is
To
not
make,
now, so we can get more chapter money? For
yeah,
trans-
so the big caveat there is regionalized school systems get 100% transportation reimbursed.
right,
So I think ours is what, $325,000 that we spend for Norse?
something like that, yeah,
Do you want me to share that other list, Chris?
sure.
Then you're gonna have to allow participant sharing.
You all right? If I can
Please.
find that. I may have to just stop sharing this one though first, because my screen is doing some weird things here. Let me just stop sharing this one for a minute. Okay. Hold on. Okay, go ahead, Ed.
Okay, let's see if I can do this. There it is.
Because I think on that list, I mean, several of the things that we had on that list were, desires, things that we can't afford were all related to some of the personnel issues. But the very last button is, so those are the services. Let's just jump down to the
And
last
down
one.
at the bottom here.
Last one. Tell me when to stop.
The third one, right about
See?
there. Yep, right here.
Yeah.
That's good. Yep. All right, so we've got those already. I think IT
The
service.
The
Yeah,
payroll vendor payment improvement through financial software. I mean,
right.
Or the
Right.
purchase order system use, something that wasn't used, we have it in place, but it's not being used or something.
Right, yeah. So we actually have a purchase order system that is not being used. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And then more opportunities for other online, but again, that may be efficiency. It may not necessarily be a cost savings. We're not sure, right? On that yet. But
Maybe a
we,
cost control, but
yeah. Okay,
Well, it would be, if you use the purchase order system to buy stuff, it'd be one way to prevent deficit spending.
right.
The purchase order wouldn't be approved if the money wasn't there.
Correct. And right now, I think our challenge is, you can take that down, Ed, if you want.
Okay.
I think the challenge now is that we end up signing the warrants and, the invoices have already been paid. By the time it gets into, the treasurer, the accountant's office rather, it's already kind of a done deal. And so there is no pre-approval system, and however and why ever, let me pull that one back up again, why the purchase order system isn't really being used, but let's just add that one. Okay,
maybe mandatory use of purchase order system. or something.
You can actually set up the system so it has to be utilized.
okay.
But you set up parameters around it. It doesn't mean that every order requires a purchase order. You set the parameters, so it could be anything over, whether it's
Right.
$1,000 has to be approved by the town accountant. Anything over 5,000 or 10,000 has to be approved by the town administrator.
Right.
So you set up those parameters.
Okay. All right, and so John, back on this regionalization, so K through 6, so include K through 6 to get more chapter money, could share CBA, right?
It also eliminates 5 elected individuals from town government, which is nice. We wouldn't have 11 school committee members. There would just be the 6 at regional.
Well, it would actually eliminate more than 5. It would eliminate 5 from us, but it would do the
Well-
same thing in the other communities also.
True.
So are you talking though, John, I mean, that every one of the 5 towns would go to this level of regionalization, or just Southampton would add into it?
Well, I would propose that Southampton move forward with it, and if any other community wants to join in, they're free to. I
I see.
suspect some of the neighboring towns, specifically Westhampton, would opt not to do it, being the smallest population of 97 kids in their elementary school. They may fear losing their elementary school.
Yeah.
Which is usually the argument not to do this, but it's not the argument for Southampton. We
Mhm.
still make up 60% of the population.
Okay. All right, so these are ones that might enhance some revenue. Can we think of any others at the moment? I guess more online permitting. I'm gonna put it up here, department and other departments.
Yeah, because we already have online permitting for the building. It's being able to share
Yeah.
that same system with other
Yeah.
departments, whether it's the assessors, whether it's the treasurer's office, Board of Health, or the health department.
Yeah.
The
So
fire
maybe,
department as well for the.
Yeah.
Permitting.
Each module costs more, but theoretically, if you can afford it, I mean, you can link it to the planning board, to the conservation committee, and basically you do all your, shall we say, checkoffs electronically, rather than sending around a piece of paper to all those departments to find out, okay, is this impacted by conservation? Has it been in front of, been approved by planning? Is it behind in taxes?
okay,
Yeah, and I think this might be an area where, just say it's $10,000 to roll it all out. I think that's a good use of ARPA money,
mm-hmm,
a one-time money to do it. Then the question comes to what's the reoccurring annual
Right.
licensing fee?
You're right. The
Yeah.
annual support fee, as they call it. Yep.
right,
And
right.
do we potentially have to adjust the cost of permits to make sure that we're generating enough money to cover it all?
Yeah.
Not a profit, but cover
Right.
it.
Okay, all right.
Uh,
So,
Chris,
Yep.
what about electric vehicles for departments? I know some departments are starting to,
mhm,
I know police departments are starting to trend towards electric vehicles to reduce, obviously, not only is it greener, but it's also cheaper for fuel.
okay. All right,
That's one of those ones you should do actual useful life cost comparisons to, because if you end up with that vehicle and having to dispose of the batteries,
Mhm.
it might tip the scale back to the gasoline vehicles.
Yeah, I'll reach out to MHQ and see what their thoughts are on it, Ed.
all right. Okay, is this a good enough list to start with? What I was thinking was, and feel free to tell me how you'd like to proceed. If we took these 7 or 8 things here and then tried to, did I lose that? No. Tried to then in our little, just divide up tasks, with everybody taking one for their subgroup, or, 1 or 2, however we did this, but then taking each of those and trying to sit down and actually do this analysis, trying to look at what the level of cost savings would be. Would it improve service delivery and timeliness? Would it improve public access to services? Is it feasible to implement, and any of the potential impacts, either negative or positive? I think the level of cost savings is what, John was trying to reach here. We may think that something looks good, but until we actually kind of put everyone through kind of a rigorous same lens, we don't really know, right? So that would be my thought, would be to take this list of things, and then the assignment for our next meeting would be, we choose which ones we wanted to work on, and really dig down as deep as we can do to apply this criteria and come back to the meeting with, this is what this really looks like. Any thoughts about that as a process? Does that make sense? Are we moving too slow, too fast? What would you like to do?
Do we need to focus still on that low hanging fruit like we described on the other
Yeah,
meeting?
Yeah, and I think
At
some of
least for
this,
the next budget season?
yes, and I think some of this would be that. I mean, I feel like it could be like the, you know, the whatever, the central purchasing of supplies, for example, or I think the other one that was on there, sorry, was was it IT support was the other one, wasn't it?
Yeah, there
Something
was
like,
an IT support there, yeah.
something like shared IT supports, because that's kind of all over the place too, I think. So I don't know, Ian, what other, I guess from that other list, what other low hanging fruit did we think we might have? We started just talking about it last time, but we didn't really delve into the list to say, okay, what is really,
I mean, it's not significant, but I'm just thinking, for instance, our copier lease, that
Mhm,
costs me about $1,900 a year.
okay,
Do I need the level of copier that we have at the department? Probably not.
Okay.
Especially as things get more paperless as we move on. I don't know, probably at the town hall might be a little bit different. Where they
Mhm.
need, you know, a more advanced copier such as that, but I mean, $1,900, I could buy a new copier for $500 every year if the thing were to break.
Yeah.
And there's the cost savings. I mean, it's minimal, but I'm just, little things like that, I'm just saying could be, you know, savings.
Yeah, I mean, even just something as simple, not so simple, reduction in paper use. I don't know. I know we don't track who makes copies of what, and I'm sure equipment has the capability of doing that on some level. There's
We
no,
can,
pardon me?
we can, it's just gotta be, and we're due to replace the copier here, so it just needs to be programmed in.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's because I'm sure there's ways to reduce costs there. Even just some policy changes of some sort as far as printing.
Depending on the programming, you can program a printer to automatically default to black and white double-sided,
Yep.
Mhm.
right? So you make that the default, so you actually have to override it in order to do something different.
Right, versus, that's the opposite what we have here now.
But I think you can probably set it up.
Yeah,
Right,
okay. So with all this in mind, which of these would be, from your point of view, would be the easiest sort of low hanging fruit? Is there, the electric vehicle might take a while to look at, right? I'm guessing.
Sure,
So
yes, yes.
I'm gonna say that's maybe not a low hanging fruit. And then John, I don't know where you are, I'm gonna jump down to that regionalization idea. Is that something that's being talked about already, and is it moving along, or is this kind of a brand new thought?
But
And we're-
the local school committee's talking about it, and
Yeah.
they've authorized me to go up to regional. I haven't talked to the 5 chairs yet, but
Yeah,
I'm in the, I guess I can move it up on the list. I'm in the process of putting together an analysis with Bobby Jones on, you know,
Okay.
what are the pros and cons and what do those
Yeah.
numbers look like, which I
well, that
want to
would-
do before I spring it on the community.
Sure, no, that would be great. And I think, so at this point, this is not likely one that would be one that we would look at for this budget season for,
Correct.
3 months from now. So I just want to highlight ones that we probably, would not have in this immediate budget time. What about some of these others? Which ones do we think might be something we could get done? This would be
Well,
a matter of.
I
looking
like
at
the idea.
software.
I like
Yeah.
the idea if the numbers work, leasing versus purchasing of squad cars. And
Mhm.
just building in a permanent operating number into the budget.
Would that be just for police, or that would be anything else? Do I need to
Well,
specify? Do I need to specify?
My initial thought was that I share with Ian, again, it's what Dan was doing in Chester, between Chester and Blanford. And I think it's hard to do for fire trucks just because of the price tag.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
But other than that, what other vehicles would we have? You know, Randall's truck, and
yeah,
we don't have any inspection trucks, right? Lauren uses his own vehicle.
correct.
But the feasibility of leasing a sander, is that a possibility?
It's a possibility.
Okay.
It can be done.
All
You
right.
can lease you can lease just about anything.
Well, I guess that's true.
It's just a question of it makes financial sense or not.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and
I've had
that's
some
why,
conversations relative to leasing, and the conversations that I've had with multiple chiefs, leasing is a very broad term. It's more of it's a financing, is what I've been described. It's been described to me by the chiefs throughout the Commonwealth that have been leasing. It's more of a financing.
Yeah,
Okay.
financing where you own it at the end, leasing where you
Yes.
probably don't. That's a major difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So I'll take leasing out of here then.
Leasing or financing, but
Okay.
you know, that's what's been described to me. It's
Right.
generally considered leasing in a broad term, but it's actually financing.
Okay. All right. Good. What other ones do we think we could do? How about any of these in terms of some different permitting software? That would be a cost. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I guess we need to explore is, have we lost any revenue as a result of not having it, is kind of,
mhm,
you know, so is there a cost savings to having it? Or is it an efficiency? And I could ask Ron a few more questions about that.
yeah. But it's one that could be looked at, because I think it would tie in. You know, it's one that wouldn't be that difficult to sit down and probably look through and see what departments, you know, could do some more online work, and what kind of software is out there to actually link it and make it less onerous on everybody.
If we're looking at to enhance revenue, I guess I'm saying we need to determine,
Yeah,
I mean, that's the topic, right? To enhance revenue. So that's my only question, clarification.
yeah. Okay, well, point.
But I
Anybody
guess
else thoughts on that?
explore it. We can explore it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe so is the question, what will enhance revenue as a first thing, but maybe enhance revenue and improve efficiency? Or do we want to just leave it, narrow it, enhance revenue only?
So I mean, again, I go back to the point, are we losing revenue as a result? So then if we don't have it, so that would enhance revenue. So what we don't know is, are we losing?
Yeah.
Because
And another thing that just came to me, and I know the assessor's office has its own challenges right at the moment, so I wouldn't want to put any more on them. But, you know, are there things that just aren't getting done right now? The low hanging fruit, for example, you know, I can think of at least one business in town that hasn't received a personal property tax on any of their stuff, probably in over 3 years. And it could just be a disconnect as to, you know, why that's not going out, but maybe it's because they don't have the bodies to do it. But
Okay,
Usually all that is keying it into a mail master list and sending out the forms every year.
well, correct, Ed. So I oversee 8 different locations in 8 different communities, and Southampton is the only one I've never gotten the form on. And consequently, I don't get a tax bill. I mean, that office isn't going to generate thousands of dollars in personal property tax, but
No, but if you
you know,
take maybe
my
10
immediate question
different
goes,
businesses like that, it you know, becomes reasonable.
right, is Big Y getting a personal property tax bill? I mean, that's
Right.
where I just naturally jump to.
okay, so what do we think here? What, do you want to take this one off of the enhanced revenue part? For now? This
I don't have it on my screen. Is that Ron's one?
yeah.
yeah,
I think we have a conversation, you know, to Janet's point, we have a conversation with them. You know, we heard your idea. We're specifically trying to look at ones that are going to enhance revenue. Do you see this doing that? And if so, how?
okay,
Right.
And just get some feedback.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily just have to be associated with building.
right,
That's something that could be utilized by health. It could be utilized in this office for liquor licensing. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, it could have multiple uses if we could do that, you know, whether it's, you know, just one set of software, but I think Janet's point is right. It's, do we think, even doing it the hard manual way now, are we missing revenue by not having an online system? So maybe we don't have this quite phrased correctly here, but
Well,
let's-
let's ask this question a different way. If
Uh-huh.
if we had this program in place the way Rod envisioned this, would he withdraw his request for an administrative assistant to do the paperwork? You
No.
know, well, I don't know.
I do. I've used these systems.
Yeah.
There are still other aspects that have to be done, John.
yeah.
Well, then scrap it.
All right, well,
The system doesn't answer the phone for you? No.
well, we're gonna do that voice over IP one, remember? Anyway, how about some of these, the aerial flyover idea? That looks like that would generate income, has the potential to. We don't know what the cost benefit would be, right?
Correct.
All right, I'm gonna put that one as a one to tackle. How about office equipment leasing, centralized maintenance oops, sorry. The one that Ian, hello, my cursor here, my finger's not working today. This sort of the centralized maintenance contract on all the copiers, for example, and that could include copiers from the library to highway to town hall, right? And police. Yeah.
Ed, are they all the same? Is it all from the same company?
What's that?
Our copiers? I know ours are.
No.
but, is it-
No, they aren't. Could they be all from the same company? Yeah, possibly.
No, okay, I was just curious if they were. And the only reason I say that is I could certainly cut costs down, once our lease is over by just having our own copier. It would be
Mhm.
cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So do we
You
have,
gotta compare the supply cost though, Ian, not just.
Right.
the
You
company.
have to weigh that into it.
yeah,
As
Because
to
you
a
get
small
rid of a leasing cost and you pick up the toners and the drums and
Sure,
everything else.
sure. Yeah, I just know that we've been, using a lot less paper. And like I said, it costs about anywhere between $1,800 and $1,900 a year for our lease.
hmm
So if you're cutting down on printing, that's a good thing, and copying. So I
Mm.
still think we should add something in about managing the amount of printing and copying. Is there a way to do that that doesn't increase revenue? That's again, a cost saving. So take that thought back.
okay. But Ed, we don't have maintenance contracts now, do we, on like our photocopiers or things?
Well, they're leased, so they come in within that lease.
Your cost
Okay.
per copy plans probably.
Right.
Okay, so is police the one that is not leased? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, it's leased.
Oh, it's
It
leased.
is leased. Our lease is up, I think, next year.
I see.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think, yeah.
All right.
When are the other leases up, Ed?
Mine's up now. I'm actually out doing the
Exactly.
analysis to replace it. So
So that's just the one central one?
that's the one central one. There's one up in the accounting office, which is owned.
Okay.
I think no, I can't. I'll have to look at that one and see if that's owned or leased, because I know we do get they have to read the meter quarterly on it for overages. So I'll have to go back and look at that.
Would the central purchasing of supplies like paper and toner, is that one that we could look at?
Could be, yep.
So I've skipped the one. What about the replacing streetlights one? Is that? I mean, you
We
mentioned what the cost would be for Eversource, but nonetheless,
well-
that's part of the equation, right? So,
Well, I mean, the first thing should be fairly easy to figure out is doing that a substantial energy savings or not,
right.
to count towards our 20%. If it's not, if it's just one of those, it saves some, but it's, one of those nice to say you did it, then you put it off to later.
Okay.
Ed, a quick question on details. I'm just thinking about the administrative fees. It's 10% the legal limit?
I believe so, but I can check on that.
As well as and as well as the cruiser fees. And the only reason I say that is this last calendar year, for instance, we've generated about $9,500 in administrative fees through police details.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering if we could bring it up, some more percentages, just to
yeah.
get
I'll
some more money
have to
in.
look at that. Cruiser fees are not set by any
No,
standards.
no, I didn't think they were either, and we could increase that as well too.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you're supposed to do the analysis on what it actually costs to, be out there and whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean,
All right,
we can take a
something to
look at
look in,
that.
something to look into then. All right.
Yeah,
All right. All right. How about these last other couple ones? These all look like they could be, so shared maintenance plan for the school and other departments. I think Eliza brought this one up at some point.
which one?
The shared maintenance plan for the school and other departments. Maintenance services, maybe, was that custodial services, I think?
Yeah, Lisa, well, not really custodial services, but, can you do that for, HVAC and, whether it's, electrical or plumbing or anything like that you've got?
Okay, let me just clarify that then.
Chris, what about an approved vendor list? As far as even what we were just speaking of, I like, for instance, we use a local business in Southampton for our electrical needs here at the police department, who is
Yep.
significantly cheaper than I've seen other departments using as well. And I just wonder if the town came up with an approved vendor list as to who to use for certain things, where you have where, for instance, one business they might be using more personnel for the same thing. Again, I don't want to, bring up the businesses, but if we had an actual approved business or vendor list as to who we buy from or who we use for contractor services, that might be more efficient as well.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you offline on that, because what I have to say, I'm not going to say in an open meeting, Ian.
Okay.
Okay, I assume there's got to be there'd have to be a dollar limit on it. It would have to be anything under the $10,000 amount, maybe, Ed, for a short list, or no?
But it depends on how you go about doing that. You could actually put those services out, as a, bid contract or whatever, and then you're not limited by the $10,000 limit. But yeah, theoretically, unless you're either doing that or you're working off the state contractor contract list, yeah, you hit that $10,000 mark and you got to go use somebody else.
Okay, all right.
I was referring to more general, lower cost initiatives, lower cost repairs and so forth.
Yeah, but once you group them together, they all count in the aggregate.
Okay, well, you guys can talk about that. So shared maintenance plan, we clarified that, and use the purchase order system. So is that a money saver? Not necessarily, is it? Although,
Using the purchase order system?
yeah,
No, it's a cost control system.
right. So it's not a revenue generator though, right?
No.
Right. So we'll keep that one a yellow one for now.
Chris, neither's replacing streetlights isn't a revenue generator, right? So I'm a little confused. Some of it is saving costs and some of it's generating revenue, so.
Yeah, true. True.
It's kind of a little, either one is a good thing, if we save costs. So I mean, if you were to cut cost on how many prints a department could make, you'd be saving revenue or, cutting on expenses, which I'm not sure which one is.
Yeah. But I mean, so yeah, I think cost generated revenue or cost savings, those kind of go in the same bucket for me, I guess. Looking at using a purchase order system, it's more, I mean, I don't think we think that we're losing money the way we're doing it. It's just that it's not
Efficient.
It's not efficient. It's not as transparent as it might be in terms of understanding where the money is spent, maybe ahead of
I
time.
mean, I think cost control, which is a term that's been tossed around a little bit, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
trying to control how much paper we spit out of the copier machines. I mean, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but
well, I'll just, well, maybe we'll have a separate one for cost control ones. Maybe that's what we need to think about too.
just clarification for me.
Um, reduce paper costs. I don't know. Copying. Yeah. Okay, so those are kind of cost control on that one there too, right? I think Eliza came in. Hi, Eliza.
Hi, so sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
Thank you.
We're just kind of going through things that we were looking at out of last time, trying to look at some of those things that we were thinking about would be low hanging fruit. And John suggested we look at things that might enhance our revenue. And then we might then apply the criteria to the ideas that we have to see whether it really would generate revenue or cost savings for us. So these are some of the ones in black here, dark black, that we've come up with already that might be able to be put through that lens.
Okay, thank you.
And I think we shared IT support. Ed, I think you'd been talking about that one as well, right? Not having 3 or 4 different IT on-call vendors.
Yeah, there may be a cost savings there.
Okay.
On the flip side, if you get the right one, at least it means all your networks are working properly and set up properly.
Right, yeah, exactly. So develop the approved vendor list, maybe not a cost savings at this point.
Maybe not.
All right. Police detail, though, it might be, Ian. Might be a cost savings, possibly. Maybe. Yep, you're muted, Ian, sorry. Ian, unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. It would,
That's
it would be increased revenue.
It would, okay.
Yes.
All right, and then this is one that's kind of on hold. So anything in yellow, these is ones that we're kind of talking about maybe, but nothing that would be quick and easy to do probably right now, or it doesn't fit with generating revenue. So actually, I'm going to move these couple guys up so they're all in one spot. If I can do that, I'm going to put them right up here. She says, oh, come on. All right, so if we look at this list again, so this is kind of where we are. We've got 1, 2, well, this one was still a little bit questionable. 1, 2.
I'll ask her on some more questions, but I don't think it's a revenue generator, but I can't answer that for him, so.
Yeah, okay. I'll put that one in italic so that we know that it's a little bit different. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe. That look like they could be. Yeah, again, this would be a shared IT support would probably be a cost savings, wouldn't it, Ed? Not necessarily a revenue generator.
Correct.
I'm gonna move that back then, sorry. Come down. Yeah, okay. So that's one I think we could look at, but through a different, for a different reason, perhaps, yeah. All right. So here we are then with what we have, so. So how does that look to anybody? Does that look doable in terms of the first ones to take a look at? In terms of revenue generators?
And so I think that you can add the school in there for number 2, leasing, financing versus purchasing vehicles, but I don't understand how that's a revenue generator. Maybe you guys talked about that. I feel like
Uh,
that's a savings.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. You want to put the school up here too? Yeah.
Because we do have a preschool van that we need to replace or
Okay.
add to. We're going to have to purchase something soon.
Yep. Okay. So maybe we have two buckets here, guys. Maybe we've got the bucket of revenue generation, and then a second one of, well, maybe three, cost control, although we may not be ready to do that one yet. I don't know. But the other one would be improved efficiency, right? Or improve, well, it would be cost savings. I don't know, guys, help me out. What do you see?
I think you should group them, one being revenue and one being cost savings in two groups.
Yeah, there
Okay,
you go. Then it's clear.
so cost savings would be a separate one. All right,
Yes.
okay. Whatever, come on. All right, so leasing would be down here, maybe. We're gonna put that one down. I'm just gonna take this off here. All right. So generator, yes. Office equipment, cost savings. Are these all cost savings? Is there
Yes,
nothing-
most of them aren't.
Well,
Yes.
the first one looks like you would be earning money or
Yeah, the first one,
getting
I think,
revenue, right? The first one.
I think so, yeah. And the last one, I think Ian said yes.
yeah.
But all these others look like they're more cost savings, are they not?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I would say so.
Okay. Well, that took
I
care
don't
of
know
that
how,
system.
as far as enhancing revenue, I don't know how significant this would be, but how much does the park make from the pavilion a year? From renting it out? Because it's not a very significant fee.
Right.
Right.
I think
Well,
$100, right, for a day?
Well, it depends on if you live in or without, outside of town. And actually, last year I brought it up to them, the fact that, yeah, and we only see the ones that are putting in for the 1 day beer and
Alcohol.
wine permits, but I'll see beer and wine permits put in for like 4 hours, and I'll see them put in for 8 hours. So I asked the park commission to take a look at, okay, as a revenue enhancement, does it make sense instead of just basically renting it out for the day? Should that be, a 4 hour or 5 hour, like a 4 hour interval where you might get 2 rentals in a day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the typical cost is to rent a pavilion out, because I know it seems to be a pretty popular spot throughout the nice weather, during the good, nice weather.
It
Seems like it's
is,
always being used.
And we're a lot cheaper than, shall we say, some of the other ones, but don't forget, Ian, is there's actually a template to go through, and they can charge whatever they can justify that are the costs, but we, as a municipality, we are not supposed to charge, shall we say, more than that and be a profit maker.
Yeah,
Mhm.
be exorbitant probably in our
Right.
leasing or something, or our fee schedule.
Renting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it just means you really start to have to get detailed into, okay, well, how many hours does it take to someone to go through the permit paperwork and write it up and schedule it and that, and then
Maintenance.
right, you got to figure in maintenance, any insurance that's on that, any highway department costs that are going into it, either getting it ready or cleaning up afterwards, if you're supplying the trash bags, the water, all that stuff.
Okay, so guys, I think we got 3 buckets here. This feels like something here. So we've got enhanced revenue, and we've got these two ideas about the aerial flyover to identify I guess I wrote this, if this makes sense, property additions that may not have permits and may not be being taxed because they haven't pulled permits and they haven't been noticed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then police detail fee structure and cruiser fees as a possible generator. And you might come up with some others, Ian, for the fire department. When you talk to John, I don't know if there's anything with the ambulance fees or anything there. Where
Right. I have that written down already as a note, Chris.
I'll just put a 3 question mark here, okay?
Yep.
So that you know that to check with that. Leasing versus this, then the second pot would be cost savings. This all looks like cost savings ideas. And then the third one would be more cost control, which can also lead to some cost savings, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's a good delineation. Now, what do we do with it? Well, I would like again, and we'll leave the electric vehicle and the regionalization ideas out there, but not for immediate action for low-hanging fruit, okay? The criteria that we had set up originally was this. So the level of cost savings, does it improve service timeliness and delivery, improve public access, how feasible it is to implement, and any pros and cons, positive or negative. So the idea would be to take each of these groups and try to, get some real cost figures. Obviously, Bradley, you'd have to be involved in helping getting us a lot of these figures to know what we're talking about here. But I think this would be a way to tackle this, would be to take each of these categories and try to apply that criteria and see what we come up with. The question is, can we try all 3 of these categories at once, or do you want to just start with the first 2 or 3? The enhanced revenue only, apply that criteria. Again, if we only are meeting once a month, which had been the idea, that puts us quite a ways away to have a lot of decision making done, but open to thoughts. We could try to tackle the first couple, divide and conquer amongst us all, and choose which ones you wanted to work on that's related to your subgroup or your interest. Open to ideas. How would you like to try and tackle this? But I think that would be our first logical step, would be to look at this, and there's more to come. I'm sure there's other regionalization ideas, for example, John, that would be, helpful. They may not enhance revenue unless we thought we had a service that we would be able to give to somebody, or farm out to somebody. So that might be a second level of discussion, would be regionalization ideas. But to start just internally first and looking at what we have, what would make sense to do? Do you want to try and just tackle the first 3 on enhancing revenue, or try to do that and the cost savings ones together? I mean, 2 separate groups, obviously, but
I think, Chris, if there's some that are time sensitive, so if we're gonna, in the process of equipment leasing,
Yep.
then I don't think we should put that off.
Right.
Those, if we go through them kind of like that.
okay. Okay. I mean, I think my thought would be, I mean, I wish we had the full members of the committee here so we could divide up a little bit better.
Yeah.
Cost control is a different one, but the ones that are going to,
I mean, is there something in cost control that
These-
doesn't cost us anything, but maybe we can implement it in the short term? And how do you change the policy?
well, yeah, I mean, these don't look like, and correct me if I'm wrong, these don't look like they would need a whole lot of super duper analysis. It's a matter of saying, okay, we're going to reduce paper cost. We're tracking, X amount per department, whatever, or, there's a meter on the machines, and, you will be billed over X number of copies, or I don't know. That's more of a policy level kind of
Right.
thing, I think, that could go into place, as would be the use of a purchase order system, right? Those are kind of policy related that I don't think would require this level of detail. An approved vendor list might kind of fall in that area. The shared IT support, That might be more cost savings. We might move that guy up. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, move it up.
Oh, where'd he go? I don't know.
He doesn't
So-
want to move.
No, I tell you, it's amazing that anything moves here. Okay, so that would give us this block to focus on for our next meeting. So would you rather kind of, take all of these? So two or three people work on the enhanced revenue one. And then, if everybody took like two items or one item, whichever, just to kind of divide this up and see which ones we could try and understand and get some level of analysis on before our next meeting.
I can do the police detail and the ambulance fees.
Okay. I'm gonna put this as, I'm gonna mark it right here. Okay. Thank you.
I mean, I can talk about the aerial flyover. I'm happy to,
Okay.
because I think Bradley's going to be pretty busy doing other stuff. So
And you could put me in for the leasing of the police vehicles. I can and look into that too.
yeah, and I'd add Bob Briggs to that, given his
Yep.
background
Yeah.
too.
Right. Where was that one now? Sorry. Right here. Yep.
Number one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Bob. Okay.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
wondering what happened to Bob. He was on in the beginning and then disappeared.
Yeah, no, he said he had a meeting tonight. He couldn't make it. So,
He wasn't on at all.
so
tonight.
Janet, I'll put you up here.
Yeah, I mean, I
um,
guess the thing is, how much can they estimate that we could actually
Yeah.
bring in versus
Yeah.
the cost of the aerial
Okay.
software? So
Yeah.
I can get that information.
What else could we do? Bradley, anything that jumps out at you that you might be able to try and tackle? Did I lose him?
Not really,
Okay.
whatever you want to throw at me, I'll take.
How about supplies? I wonder, central purchasing of supplies, would that help? Because we use WB Mason all over the place, right? And
We
others.
we buy the paper off the state contract, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's actually the
Cheapest.
cheapest that's out there.
But there's other supplies. So some people buy stuff through WB Mason, some buy through Amazon. There's
Staples, yeah.
Staples, there's a wide variety of things, right?
Staples, well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Bradley, I'm gonna put you down here, okay? If you have a sense of what we're trying to talk about here.
Mhm.
All right. So that would be across departments, basically. So wherever you're seeing those kinds of things. Shared maintenance plan. I don't know.
I was thinking, I mean, I could come to the table with an
Mhm.
idea of how much we pay, we either budget or pay for
Yeah.
maintenance stuff at the school so that we can combine that with other town departments
Right.
and look
just-
at it.
Yep. And just to be clear, I think we said earlier, we're not talking custodial services. We're looking at other
Right.
things.
Looking at
So-
like the maintenance
Yep.
of the boiler and things like that,
Yeah, right.
electrical and
Right, exactly. Throw that in there. So that would include like even the library, for example, whoever's on the library committee. That might be one, two, but whoever's best placed to do this. John, anything that you would like to work on? Streetlights, energy savings? I don't know, or not.
I'll take the streetlights on.
Yeah, Ed?
Yep.
Okay,
Wherever you want to stick me.
well, I don't know. We've got office equipment leasing and sort of a centralized maintenance contract combination. I guess that was two separate ideas, I think, maybe. And then the shared IT support or the maintenance plan with the school and other departments with Eliza.
I guess my question on shared IT support, are we talking about shared with other municipalities or surrounding communities?
No,
Or,
We're talking shared right now. If somebody has a problem, Department X calls Northeast IT, Department Y calls somebody else.
Stay out of the snow.
Say what?
More like centralized IT support then,
Okay,
right? Or shared and central, I just.
so that would be more that. What are we paying now for the various department supports? I don't know. Ed, go ahead.
What's that?
No, I thought you were trying to say something about the centralized IT support. I mean,
No, I just got back to my
Oh,
seat.
okay.
We're finishing getting the stuff off and packaged for Tuesday night select board meeting.
gotcha. Okay. All right. So, all right. So yeah, I don't know, John, want to take on the centralized IT support idea?
Yeah, I mean, I can reach out to the, I guess yeah, I
Well,
can
I
try
think-
and get my hands around it and see what exactly that entails.
Well, I think Ed and Bradley can probably give you an idea of the services that we now use, who's using what, and what we're spending on a monthly basis. And then from there, you could go talk to the departments, maybe?
Mhm.
Would that work, Ed? Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, it might make some sense.
Oh, if you got a better idea, feel free. I mean, I want to give John something hard to do. He can't just be loafing around here.
Hmm.
Or
Oh,
the
we won't let him mope around at all, believe me.
Or the shared maintenance plan for the school and other departments with the HVAC and the boilers, maybe?
That
would
was
be
what
a-
Sure.
Well,
John,
yeah, I
would
mean,
you
I
like
can,
to-
I can tag up with Eliza on that one.
All
That's
right,
fine.
why don't you do that one? And then I can try playing with this one if you want.
No, I'm good with it. I guess, like I
Yeah.
said, when I first read, Ed, you were away from your desk. When I
Okay.
first read that, to me, it was like, aren't we all using the same provider already within the town? So are we trying to marry to another community? But Chris said, no, it's like one department calls Northeast and another department calls Suite 3.
Right,
so
that's,
we-
that's one of the reasons we're gonna move back to the ticket process for
Yeah.
IT support here in town hall and for the departments.
So, well, let's just add that one down here. Do cost control. I like that. IT ticket support system. Okay, perfect. Okay, so does that make sense, everybody? I will send this out so everybody knows what we just agreed to. And I'll let Bob know too that we've put him on here, Ian, with you on this. And again, I think these are still the criteria that we want to put them through, okay? We'll leave the cost control for now, but I'll send this criteria out as well. So each of those things we'd want to, have each of those things kind of analyzed through that lens, all right? So the question is, how soon would we like to meet? What's really realistic for everybody? I know we said monthly. Do we think, again, we should try to meet more frequently just to get this rolling?
I don't think we're gonna make much progress if we meet only monthly.
Yeah, I kind of
Especially
feel the
for-
same way. Mm.
What about
Everybody-
what about a 3-week rotation? Every
Mhm.
3 weeks.
Okay,
There you go, that's a good compromise.
all right. I know Bob Riggs told me he has a meeting the third Wednesday of every month, so that's kind of a tricky one. Shall we try a Thursday still? Is that okay? That would be the 17th of February.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be here, Chris, but
No, okay.
I mean, I can try to get, I can talk.
Or-
It might be, I may have to move some things around.
Okay, the
I-
15th, we've got a select board meeting.
Is that school vacation week?
No.
No, the
next
following week
week.
is. The
I mean,
24th.
the option would be the 10th if we thought we'd be ready for that. Which, the 9th or the 10th?
We have school committee on the 9th, right, John?
Correct.
Well, let me take it back. I can make the 17th if we meet at 3:30 and we're done by 5.
Okay, yep, no, we will be. Yep.
Yeah.
The 17th works for me. If
Yep.
Janet can make that work for her.
Yeah.
Okay,
How about we plan on February 17th and March 10th? That's
All right.
Like the next 2 times we meet.
that'd be great. All right, I will knock those down and we will go for that. So, good. Well, I will send around this, a little bit cleaned up so it's more readable. So everybody knows what their assignment is, okay? And I think this is a good start, guys. I hope this is what you're hoping to do with this committee. If not, feel free to jump in with other ideas, but it seems like it's a start anyway. Okay. All right, if we don't have any other issues or comments, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
All right, thank you much at 4:50. All right, thanks very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Take care,
All right.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.